Hello, recappers. Today's movie starts with a young man walking into an empty house. He's surprised to see another man named Franklin already there. The young man tells Franklin that he doesn't want to keep flipping houses with him anymore because the HGTV flipping craze is over. Franklin, who has puffed up cheeks, tries to change his mind, but the young man is done. As he turns to leave, Franklin hits him on the head with a hammer and kills him. The story then moves to a different young man named John Link, who just moved into the neighborhood. While looking around, he spots a girl named Katie Foreman and is instantly interested. He follows her to school and watches her from a distance, but because he's good-looking, no one seems to think it's weird. At school, Katie is caught vaping by a teacher while hanging out with her best friend Sam. The teacher reports her to Principal Perkins, who suspends her for the day. Side note, Perkins used to be in Lifetime movies, but now he's in Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. He started from the bottom and somehow stayed there. Later, a police officer named Detective Harper joins a conversation between Lori, Katie's mom, and the school staff. Lori says she knows Harper because she works as a court reporter. On the way home, Lori scolds Katie for embarrassing her and grounds her. That night, Sam comes over, and she and Katie drink alcohol. Sam's boyfriend Aaron picks her up later. After they leave, Katie hears a noise from the house across the street and decides to check it out. She sees John working out shirtless, which immediately grabs her attention. And because Katie is hot, this isn't considered weird. She leaves before John sees her watching. The next morning, before Lori heads to work, she calls Katie a dumb ass for failing school. Later, Katie spies on John while he's trimming bushes. John takes off his shirt and sees her watching. He walks over, and they flirt. John explains that he's the grandson of the old lady, who used to live across the street, and that she passed away last week. He's renovating the house to sell it. He tells Katie he graduated last year from St. Patrick's and is taking a gap year before college. They kiss, but when he leaves, he secretly steals Katie's house keys. Later that night, John sneaks into Katie's house. As he quietly roams around, Lori notices the door is unlocked, closes it, and goes back to bed. Startled, John's IBS flares up and he leaves. The next day, Katie realizes her keys are missing, but still heads to school. After Lori and Katie leave, John breaks in and installs surveillance cameras in the living room, beside the stairs, and inside Katie's bedroom. At school, Katie gets caught using her phone during class. The teacher tries to confiscate it, but Katie throws the phone and hits the teacher in the head. Everyone is gagged. Principal Perkins and Detective Harper talk to Lori about the incident. Katie is placed on house arrest for a month. She won't be allowed to leave and will be assigned a tutor. Lori threatens legal action, but Harper calms her down. Back at home, Lori explains the situation to Katie. She'll have to wear a special Fitbit-like ankle monitor. Harper installs it, and when Katie steps outside, it immediately starts beeping. She has 60 seconds to return before the police are alerted. Lori also admits that Katie's rebellious behavior probably stems from her father's death last year. When Lori leaves for work, John visits Katie to check on her. She spills the tea about everything, and John laughs it off, saying what she did is nothing compared to the stuff he's done. Katie is low-key creeped out. John says he has to meet someone at his grandmother's house and leaves. That night, he watches Katie sleep through the hidden camera. The next day, a school-appointed tutor named Miss Hester visits. During their session, Katie daydreams about John working out. Miss Hester calls her out and scolds her. John hears it all through his surveillance system. He watches Hester leave and sees Sam arrive to visit Katie. Katie vents about being on house arrest and tells Sam about John. Sam supports her but warns her to be careful. John is still a stranger. Outside, Aaron waits for Sam. John shows up and asks what he's doing there. Aaron tells him it's none of his business. John threatens him, and Aaron dips like a bitch boy. Later, Lori asks Katie how her day went. Katie says she doesn't like her tutor and tells her mom about John. Lori is suspicious, remembering the old woman across the street once said she never had kids. John hears the entire conversation through the camera. That night, Katie tries to look up John Link online but finds nothing. While searching, she sees John and Franklin arguing across the street. Franklin warns John that making new friends in the neighborhood draws attention to their house-flipping scam. Franklin storms off while Katie watches from her window. The next day, John visits Katie, and they get a little too cozy. Katie stops and says her mom doesn't want John in the house. John slips up and says he already knows about that. Katie gets confused. She also questions him about the old lady supposedly not having children. John claims his grandmother just didn't want anyone to know about her family. He excuses himself to the bathroom and leaves his phone on the couch. It rings, and nosy Katie sees a message from Franklin asking where John is. John returns, gets mad at Katie for snooping, then switches moods, kisses her, and leaves. Katie is visibly worried. Later, Sam tells Katie that John threatened Aaron. But Katie ignores the red flags because she's too horny to care. The next day, she uses her mom's credit card to order a pair of binoculars online. The following day, Sam goes to St. Patrick's, the school where John claimed he went to high school. She asks the admin for information on John Link, but the staff tells her they can't release student information. Feeling defeated, Sam prepares to leave, but two students who overheard her questions stop her. They show Sam a yearbook with John's photo to prove he really went to St. Patrick's. They also warn her that John tends to become possessive and dangerous. Sam takes the yearbook with her and goes straight to Katie to tell her everything. Later that night, John watches Katie sleep through his hidden camera. The next morning, he delivers a package to Katie and asks if he can come inside. Katie declines and says she has a lot of homework and some fingering to do. John doesn't buy it, but he leaves anyway. Katie opens the package. It's her binoculars. Miss Hester visits for another tutoring session and scolds Katie for not putting in any effort to study. John listens in on their conversation via his phone. After the session, Miss Hester gets into her car and John suddenly appears, strangling her from behind. She sees his hot bod and says, "Choke me, Zaddy," before dying. Tragic, but relatable? The next day, Katie uses her binoculars and manages to see the passcode to John's front door. She waits for him to leave, sets a 1-minute timer on her phone, just enough time before her ankle monitor alerts the cops, and sprints to John's house. She enters the code, it works, and she goes inside. She hesitates, then relocks the door and rushes back home. Her timer hits 0, just as she crosses the perimeter. Detective Harper shows up almost immediately. She finds Katie doing some gardening outside. Katie pretends she accidentally stepped out of range. Harper believes her and leaves. Later, John asks Katie if she's ghosting him. Katie finally confronts him, saying they have nothing between them. John tells her he took care of her tutor because she was getting in the way of their relationship. Katie says she doesn't want to see him anymore because he can't even be honest. She tells him to never speak to her again. The next day, Franklin arrives at the house with a potential buyer, but the place is a mess and John is sleeping. The buyer leaves. Disappointed, Franklin yells at John, who says Katie doesn't want him anymore. Franklin threatens to throw John under the bus if he quits their partnership. In response, John smashes Franklin's head with a hammer, killing him. Franklin always wanted to get nailed, just not like this. Katie and Sam devise a plan to sneak into John's house and gather evidence. They see John leaving, and Sam rushes to his front door. Once inside, she video calls Katie and begins exploring. In the bedroom, she finds Franklin's body under a bedsheet. At that moment, John returns. Katie warns Sam, who whispers that she has no way out. She hides behind the bed. John looks around but doesn't check the bedroom. After he leaves again, Sam escapes and returns to Katie. Later, Detective Harper visits John's house following a neighbor's report about screaming. John denies it, but lets her look around. Harper checks the bedroom. No body, just a mannequin under the sheets. It's giving Dahmer. Harper reports back to Katie and Sam, saying she didn't find a body, just a blow-up doll. Both girls are shocked. Katie says Miss Hester might have been one of John's victims too. She walks away, clearly shaken. Lori tries to convince Detective Harper that Katie wouldn't make something like this up. Harper says she'll continue investigating. That night, Katie's phone rings. It's her mom's number. She answers, only to hear John's voice. Lori screams in the background, begging Katie to call the police. John warns her not to, and instead asks her to meet him at her school in 10 minutes. Katie arrives and sees John holding a knife. He tells her that he killed Miss Hester and Franklin because they were getting in the way of their relationship. Now, he says he wants to hurt Lori too. Katie tricks him by saying he should meet her at the place where they first saw each other. She runs, and John chases her, leaving Lori behind, but he warns Lori not to move. John finds Katie in the hallway and tells her he loves her. A few seconds later, they hear police sirens. John asks if she called the police. Katie says she didn't have to, then shows him her ankle monitor. He's caught. John says they'll meet again, but Katie slaps him. He runs away. Katie hurries back and unties Lori. Sam and Detective Harper arrive soon after. Harper tells Katie that John won't bother her again. His photo has been sent to all police stations. Katie blames herself for everything, but Harper tells her she was very brave. She says John was not the nice boy next door after all. Everyone feels relieved. And that's how our story ends. What did you think about the ending? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next breakdown.